if you're new to the channel, I started a pond last year, which is right behind me. And I'm gonna show you guys what's all inside the pond for y'all here on YouTube. We started it on TikTok, but it's gone quite some ways now. So currently here in the pond, it's not full or all the way to the top of the water, or the top of the surface here in the pond. It can go about another foot up of water, but currently it's about 4 foot deep. And in this pond we have different things such as lilies, we have hyacinths, we have water lettuce, and we have the water poppy, and I believe one water hawthorn. I'm gonna bring you guys in close so you can see, and you might even catch a glimpse of some of the fish that are inside this pond. All right guys, so here's a bit of a close-up here. We have this big old lily down in this pond. I love the variegated lily pads you can see at the bottom. I'm pretty sure everything has like that, or I'm not sure. Let's not quote me on this because I'm still new to ponds and whatnot, but I believe at least all the ones that I've seen have this variegatedness to the bottom of the lily pads. This specific lily, it says that the color is supposed to be pink. So it's a water lily, Myra pink. I'm guessing that's the name because that's what it says on the tag. I'm leaving the tags in here so I know. Eventually I do have to pot these guys up, and they should flower sometime mid-summer. Okay, now over here we have the water hawthorn. By the way guys, we have 2 ponds, so this isn't overstocked in plants. I just moved some of the plants from that pond over to this pond since we do have fish in here and the fish need places to hide. By the way, I noticed too that these lilies are easy to tear, so you got to be careful with them because they will rip up, and then you have excess waste in your pond. From what I know, water hawthorns, they do, or I believe they're fragrant, as well as they put on these lovely white flowers that show up sometime in winter. Now, there's not going to be any flowers this year, or at least until next year, because they like that cool weather, and they can handle partial shade to full sun. So these guys should do fine here. There is a tree off to the side of this pond that should eventually give it dappled lighting, and it's called Summer Gold. Okay, if you can see in there, we have another plant. Now that plant just so happens to be a water poppy, and water poppies do flower as well. They would prefer to be put underwater, I believe a good in between 6 and 12 inches, I think. I kept it higher to the surface of the water so it doesn't get buried too deep under. Same thing with the water hawthorns. I believe water hawthorn prefers maybe 20 inches to about 12 inches-ish. In the back there, I don't know if you can see it. Let's kind of walk around here. But we have another lily there. So the lily that you can see, I remember the name to this one. It's called Pink Princess. Now, it also has like some of those splotching, but not as much as the other one. It's actually more colored. Actually, you know what? I don't even think there's any splotching whatsoever. Well, okay, that's what this looks like. It just looks pretty cool. The splotchy colors are more towards the top of the leaf. If you can see that, it's got like the pinkish leaves, and it does flower pink as well, so that's pretty fun. Now I'll show you what the water hyacinths look like. So these are water hyacinths, and I started with 2 water hyacinths about 1 month ago, and as you can see we have a ton of water hyacinths in here now, because water hyacinths just so happen to propagate with ease. So you can see the roots here. I just took off the ones last week and just did this and popped them in. I'm not sure if I'm doing it right, but it's been working, so I'll put them in like that, and then eventually their roots become big and kind of sink them down. Like you can see I have one here and there. And then eventually they turn into big plants like that. Now I know this has worked because obviously we have plenty of them, and I must be doing something right because it's not too bad. And here's what it looks like when the roots get pretty big. So again, we started with just 2 and now we have a ton of them. And I've been probably coming out here every 2 weeks or so and dividing them out. So you can see they get divided, then the babies come out, and then you get more babies and more babies. I'm gonna leave this one a little bit longer to suck off the parent and get some bigger roots, and then we'll take them off like how we did. Oh, see that? Look, this one was a small one that I plucked off, and you can see it's starting to perform and produce some bigger roots that can submerge it a little bit more. And that's kind of how this works. So same thing with this water lily. They do kind of the same thing here. You can see there's roots off to the side here, and what I do is I will pinch it, and now I have a new water lettuce, and these guys spread quite easily as well. I started with 2 as well, and now I have a ton of them all throughout this pond, which is pretty unique. So now I have 2 more that should become water lettuce plants. Oh look, there goes a fish in there. I don't know if you can see him. He's right there. That's a goldfish. We do have 2 koi in here, and then we have about 7 goldfish. The goldfish, they're less shy, whereas the koi fish are a lot more shy and they tend to hide, and you can't really find them that often unless it's usually daytime or middle of the day. Matter of fact, I can see most of the goldfish in that area. It's just difficult to see them with the watercolor. If you can see, we have another plant here. Now, I'm not sure the name of this plant, but it appeared in the pond without me adding it. I'm guessing it came along with one of the plants, like kind of hitchhiked a bit. Now, I'm wondering if it's really whatever this stuff is, this super tiny stuff, because at one point I thought it was duckweed or something, but I don't really see a lot of this around in the pond, and these guys showed up out of nowhere, so I'm gonna guess maybe they came from that and then started producing more and more and more. But what's confusing is, look at the baby that I just pulled off. Now it spreads like that, and I know that they can't be water hyacinths either because they look completely different. So that's pretty unique. Oh look, the goldfish are coming out. Pretty cool. I wish I could show you guys the 2 koi fish. Instead, you can only see the 3 goldfish over there. And yet we do have 7 goldfish, so I can tell you they're probably hiding in the caves that I've installed. So underneath this stone here, there's actually a cave. I dug out like these in caves and then put the stone over top, and this way we can make caves for hiding, or for the fish to kind of chill out in. And I think I can't remember how many caves there are, but I remember there's one here, there's one back there, there's one over here, and then there's one way down. I want to say about a good 2 foot down underneath the water, where these ones are about, I want to say right now they're about, well actually they're probably 2 foot, and the other one's probably 3 foot then. So these are about 2 foot underwater for the caves. And then there's a cave that's about 3 foot underneath the water as well, like far down there. So those koi fish probably will never come out, at least when I'm around. I see them swimming towards the top of the surface when I'm further away, but as soon as I come up or approach, they tend to dip. So I hope they get used to me eventually. If you guys like this build, go ahead and give me a follow. We have a lot of plans for this pond. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you the small pond, which definitely needs some work. And by the way, if you're curious on what these bubbles or how I've got things going on, we have a fountain-ish thing right here that's producing air as well as some noise. And then we have some bubblers. Let's walk over to the bubblers that are fed in there. So I picked this up from a pet store, and I'm not sure if it's the right thing to use, but this is how I've gotten it. So it's putting out air, if you can see it, and that's how I make sure to aerate the pond, make sure that there's some air going into the pond at least for the fish and whatnot. Now, I didn't really have a way to submerge it, so I used a fishing weight, if you can see that. It's a little fishing weight that kind of drags it down underneath the water, and I guess it's just heavy enough to where it can be submerged. And just like that, now we got bubbles. By the way, let me show you what's actually putting in the work. It's this piece right here. I can turn it down, or I could turn it up, and when I turn it down, you can see the bubbles are going to start going away. So you see that? The bubbles kind of dissipated a bit, and I'm going to turn it back up, and let's watch as the bubbles kind of show up. So now we have more powerful bubbles. Pretty cool, right? Before I forget, here's what the small pond looks like. There's not much to it. It's about 3 foot deep, and currently there's no plants in here. Matter of fact, I do see something in there. I'm not sure. It looks like that same thing that I've seen, so it might be duckweed, and because I don't see those big things showing up in here, but I see the little small pieces. There are mosquito larvae in here so far, so it looks like we need some fish, and we need to fill this pond to the top, as well as clear away some of the weeds that are inhabiting it. So we got some work to do, guys, and we got to get rid of the green water somehow. I'm not sure how yet, but we're going to do our research and get to it. And look at this lovely Japanese maple tree that is planted next to the small pond. It's called Ijama Sanago, and it turns bright orange during fall time. And then you can see the new growth is quite amazing as well. It's this bright red color that eventually turns to a chocolatey color. But we're gonna head back over to the other pond, and I'll see you guys there. Hope you guys like my pond build so far. I do plan on filling it all the way up with water eventually. So far it's a good, I want to say 4-ish foot deep right now. It's a pretty deep pond, if you can imagine. I dug pretty deep down, and then it's about 6 foot wide this direction and about maybe 7 foot that direction. It was a lot of digging, and I wanted to have at least 2 koi fish in the pond, or at least spacing for 2 koi fish, and I think we did a pretty decent job. So I will see you guys next time. Peace.